If the power grid went down tomorrow, would you have these 5 items ready? Not next week. Not after you've had time to get to the store. But tomorrow. The power goes out. The Wi-Fi disappears. The refrigerator goes silent. The faucets may stop running. The house starts heating up or getting cold. And the devices you've always thought of as backup supplies suddenly become what determines whether you can safely stay in your home. In this video, we're counting down 5 items that help maintain information, light, water, temperature, and power. But remember one thing. Having the item isn't enough. It has to work when you need it. We'll start with number 5, the item that could become critical while your phone still has battery power, but the connection is gone. NOAA radio with backup battery power. Imagine the power in your home has been out for more than an hour. You pick up your phone. The battery is still at 72%. The screen still lights up. Your contacts are still there. The weather app is still there. But your phone can no longer update you on what's happening outside. A phone that still has battery power doesn't mean the system behind it is still working. Cell towers may lose power or become overloaded. Your modem and router also go down with the grid. The phone is still in your hand. But what you can no longer receive may be the most important thing. New information. How widespread is the outage? Which roads have been closed? Which support centers are open? If the cause is a storm or tornado, which areas are in immediate danger? This is when a NOAA weather radio becomes valuable. It gives information another way to reach you without relying on Wi-Fi or your home internet, as long as the local broadcast station is still operating. But there's one thing that's very easy to misunderstand. Not every radio that receives NOAA is the same. Some desktop radios are designed primarily for home alerts. They may support SAME, specific area message encoding, which allows the device to be programmed for a specific area. Some models also have an automatic alert mode, meaning the radio can sit by your bed and sound an alert when the appropriate signal comes through. Meanwhile, many handheld emergency radios with a hand crank focus more on portability and multiple power sources. They may receive NOAA, but not every model has SAME or the ability to automatically wake you up. So don't just see the word NOAA on the box and assume every device does the same thing. If the goal is to receive alerts while everyone in the house is asleep, prioritize the automatic alert function. If you need to carry it during an evacuation, portability and backup power become more important. And don't treat the hand crank as your main power source. The hand crank is useful, but it should be the last layer. A more practical setup is common AA or AAA batteries, the ability to use USB while your power bank still has power, and then the hand crank. But the most important part isn't buying the radio. It's proving that the radio actually works before you need it. A radio that gets good reception near a window may not work as well when placed deep inside a bedroom. So test it in the exact place where you'll use it. Check the frequency. If it has SAME, check the area code. If it has an automatic alert mode, test it. Because there's an important paradox worth remembering. A silent radio doesn't necessarily mean everything is safe. It may also be silent because it's on the wrong frequency, has the wrong SAME code, has dead batteries, has a weak signal, or the alert mode hasn't been turned on. So the radio's silence is only truly trustworthy once you've proven that it is capable of making noise. That's why periodic alert tests from your local station are so useful. If the radio responds correctly on a normal day, you've confirmed the signal, the settings, and its ability to issue an alert. You want to discover a problem while everything is still normal, not at 2 in the morning when dangerous weather is approaching. A NOAA radio also shouldn't be your only source of information. Think of it as one independent layer of information. If your phone still has service, use your phone. If local AM/FM stations are still broadcasting, listen to those too. Even if the outage wasn't caused by a storm, local radio may still help you learn the extent of the outage, road conditions, support locations, or new instructions. Good preparedness means making sure that one system failing doesn't mean you lose all access to information. But receiving new information still isn't enough. You also need to know when that information was updated. Let's say that at 8 in the morning, the radio reports that a bridge is still open. By 2 in the afternoon, someone in the house says, "The radio said that bridge is still open." Not necessarily. That information is 6 hours old. During a fast-changing emergency, a route may close, a shelter may fill up, or the warning area may change. So keep a small notebook and a pen next to the radio. When you hear an important update, just write down 3 things. What is happening? Which area is affected? What time you heard the information? One line on paper is more reliable than the memories of several people under stress. Next to the radio, you only need a few things that directly support how you use that information. A frequency list, a paper map, and a few important contact numbers. There's no need to turn this area into a second emergency kit. The goal is simply to keep everything you need to use with the radio close enough that you won't have to search for it in the dark. This is even more useful for families with older adults. Stress, lack of sleep, and pressure can make even familiar information harder to remember. And if someone in the home has hearing loss, account for that when choosing the device. Some systems may support flashing lights, vibrating devices, or text alert displays. The goal is to make sure the person in the house most likely to miss an alert still receives it. There's a very short true story that shows why preparing ahead of time matters. In 2012, when a powerful tornado moved into Woodward, Oklahoma, in the middle of the night, 87-year-old Wilma Nelson was asleep. A NOAA weather radio woke her up. Wilma didn't have to start figuring out where she should go. She had prepared her shelter ahead of time and immediately moved into it. That's the lesson worth remembering. The radio isn't the entire plan. It's what activates a plan that has already been prepared. So don't buy a radio and leave it in this box. Tune it to the right station. Test the signal where you'll actually use it. Install backup batteries. Test the alert mode. Keep a notebook and the necessary information nearby. You want to discover a problem while the lights are still on, the network is still working, and you still have enough time to fix it. Not in the middle of an emergency, when information is changing by the minute, but you still don't know whether the radio beside you actually works. But knowing what's happening still won't help you get through a dark hallway or down the stairs when you need both hands free. 4. LED headlamp. When the power goes out, many people's first instinct is to pull out their phone and turn on the flashlight. For the first few minutes, there's nothing wrong with that. But if the outage lasts for hours, the phone you're using to light your way is also the device you may need to call family, read alerts, or check saved information. So there's one principle worth remembering. Your light source should have its own power supply, separate from your communication device. But even a home with several flashlights may not actually be prepared. The reason is simple. A handheld flashlight takes up one hand. Imagine you're over 60 and have to walk downstairs in the dark to check the electrical panel. One hand needs to hold the railing. The other is holding the flashlight. When you get there, you still have to open the panel and find the right breaker. Something completely ordinary during the day suddenly becomes much harder. That's why an LED headlamp is valuable. You put it on, the light follows wherever you look, and both hands are free. You can check the breakers, help an older adult move around, or treat a minor injury. It doesn't just provide light, it gives you back both hands. If several people live in the house, ideally, each person should have their own. During a power outage, one person may be upstairs, another in the garage, while someone else is caring for a child or helping an older adult. Relying on one portable light source makes it very easy for that light to be in the wrong place when someone needs it. Fortunately, this item doesn't have to be too expensive either. In the US market, many basic models may start at around $25, while rechargeable or higher output models usually cost more. But I wouldn't chase the headlamp with the highest lumen rating. What matters more is, how long can you use it at the practical brightness level you actually need? A headlamp advertised at 2000 lumens sounds very impressive. But you rarely need that much light just to walk from the bedroom to the kitchen. Extremely high brightness usually drains the battery faster. During a prolonged blackout, the low or medium setting is what you'll use most. So don't just ask, how bright is this light? Ask, how long will it provide enough light to be useful? Another thing worth preparing for is battery standardization. If the radio uses AA batteries, the headlamp uses ALY batteries, and another light uses a special battery, you could have an entire drawer full of batteries and still not have the type you need. If possible, limit your important devices to 1 or 2 common battery sizes. The fewer battery types you have to manage, the less likely you are to have batteries in the house, but not the right kind you need. With backup batteries, don't just look at the expiration date on the package and forget about them for years. Check your lights a few times each year and before the severe weather season where you live. Turn the light on. Check the strap. Look for signs of corrosion in the battery compartment. With rechargeable headlamps, make sure the battery still holds a charge well. If the device loses power unusually fast, gets hot while charging, or the battery shows signs of swelling, don't continue treating it as reliable emergency equipment. If you use rechargeable lights, you should also know ahead of time how you'll charge them when the grid is down. A power bank is very useful, but don't let your entire lighting system depend on a single USB power source. A few lights that run on AA or 8AA batteries can provide a simple backup layer. A headlamp should be your main portable light source, but there are still a few places in the house where backup lighting is worth setting up. Stairways are the highest priority. A battery-powered motion light or reflective tape along the edges of the steps can help you see where to place your feet as soon as the power goes out. Bathrooms and entryways are also worth having a simple light source already in place. But that's only a supporting layer. The headlamp is still what stays with you and allows you to get things done. And you don't need to turn your home into a stadium. Light the task, not the entire house. Only turn on the light where you're cooking, moving around, or checking equipment. Then turn it off when you're done. That both extends battery life and keeps your home from becoming a noticeable bright spot if the entire neighborhood is dark. This is also why your phone flashlight should only be a temporary solution. Your phone is for information and communication. Your light is for illumination. But there's one test more important than every number on the box. Try the headlamp in actual darkness. Turn off the lights in your home. Put it on. Walk from the bedroom to the bathroom. Try going down the stairs. Try opening the electrical panel. That's when you'll discover the problems that don't appear in advertisements. Is the power button easy to find? Does the strap slip? Is the beam angle easy to adjust? Is the low setting bright enough to move around safely? Does the light flicker when you turn your head? Those are also the signs that the headlamp is starting to become unreliable. A very bright light isn't necessarily the most useful light. For older adults, I would prioritize simplicity over a few hundred extra lumens. One easy-to-find button, an easy-to-adjust strap, fewer modes, light enough to wear for a long time. Good emergency gear shouldn't require someone to remember complicated instructions while they're under stress. And place the headlamp where the person using it can actually reach it. The best headlamp in the house is useless to someone who wakes up on the second floor if it's sitting in the garage. I prefer keeping one near the bed, especially for older adults, instead of storing them all in the same emergency box. If you don't have a headlamp, a small flashlight with a wrist strap is still better than nothing. Battery-powered motion lights can also support fixed areas. But if you have to choose one item for moving around in the dark, a headlamp still has the clearest advantage. It gives you light without taking away one of your hands. A home with many flashlights isn't necessarily prepared. What matters is that the right person can find the right light source, use it immediately in the dark, and know that the batteries inside are still reliable. A headlamp doesn't need to be the brightest. It doesn't need to have the most modes. It just needs to be in the right place, easy to use, and able to keep working long enough when you truly need it. However, light only helps you see the faucet. It doesn't guarantee that water will still come out when you turn it on. 3. Emergency water storage and filtration system. Imagine waking up the morning after a prolonged power outage. You walk into the kitchen and turn on the faucet. Nothing comes out. Or the water is still running, but the pressure is unusually low, and you don't know how reliable the water system still is. That's when a power outage becomes a water and sanitation problem. Pumping stations and many private wells depend on electricity. For families with private wells, the water may be right beneath your feet, but if the pump stops, you still can't bring it up. Having a water source doesn't mean you have usable water. When the faucet stops running, drinking water is only the beginning. You also need water for cooking, washing your hands, sanitation, and waste disposal. So think of emergency water as a multi-layered system. Water for drinking and cooking, water for sanitation, and the ability to filter or treat more water as your stored supply runs low. Before buying containers, ask, how much water do you need? The CDC recommends at least about 1 gallon per person per day for at least 3 days. And if possible, you should aim for enough to last about 2 weeks. But capacity isn't everything. Can the older adult in your home actually get water out of that container? A large container can be almost impossible to move when it's full. If it doesn't have a spigot or siphon, a larger capacity may not be more useful. It's better to combine a few large containers with smaller bottles that are easier to carry and pour from each day. If the weakest person in the home can't lift the container, choose a smaller size. Usability matters just as much as capacity. Next, divide the water into 2 groups. Water for drinking and cooking must be stored in suitable containers and treated safely. You shouldn't use this water to flush the toilet if another suitable source is still available. But remember, water that isn't safe to drink isn't automatically safe for every sanitation use. If the water may be contaminated with gasoline, chemicals, or floodwater, don't assume boiling it or using a portable filter will make it safe. Those methods may treat many pathogens, but they don't remove every toxic chemical. Water that looks clear and has no odor still may not be safe. If local authorities issue a water quality warning, follow the official instructions. After your initial stored water supply comes backup water filtration and treatment. But a filter isn't a magical device. Different filters treat different types of contamination. Not every filter handles viruses, chemicals, heavy metals, or salt, so know what it can treat, how long the cartridge lasts, and when the filter element needs to be replaced. If you need a backup cartridge, keep the correct cartridge next to the filter. Filtering water and disinfecting water aren't always the same thing. If local authorities issue a boil water advisory or specific treatment instructions, follow those directions. Another layer that's often overlooked is rotating your stored water. If you fill the containers yourself, label them with the date and replace the water about every 6 months, following CDC guidance. Commercially bottled water should be monitored according to the expiration date on the packaging. Basic containers and filters often start at a few $dozen, but a low price doesn't mean much if the container is cracked, leaking, or the lid no longer seals tightly. And don't wait until a storm is approaching to buy replacement filters, because the correct cartridge may sell out before prices even begin to rise. And don't forget about toilets and waste. If the water supply or sewer system is disrupted for an extended period, you should have heavy-duty sanitation bags, absorbent material, gloves, soap or sanitizer, and a place to keep waste separate from eating areas. Start with the minimum amount of water and containers that everyone can actually use. Then add a filter, cartridges, or a siphon. Don't spend most of your budget on an expensive filter while failing to store enough water to begin with. If your budget is limited, several smaller containers can replace one large tank. If you have a private well, you may want to consider a hand pump or backup power source if your system is compatible. In the end, a good water storage and filtration system should answer 4 questions. Which water is for drinking? Which water can be used for sanitation? How will the people in the home get the water out? And when the stored supply runs low, what comes next? If an older adult can't lift the container, that water isn't truly ready. If the filter is still in the box and no one knows how to use it, it isn't truly ready. If the family has water but no plan for when the toilet can't flush, the system still has a gap. Good preparedness has to work for real people in a real home. Water keeps the body functioning. But if the temperature inside the house moves outside the safe range, water alone won't be enough. 2. Temperature control and CO alert kit. There's one thing many people underestimate during a power outage. The house doesn't become dangerous immediately. It changes hour by hour. In winter, heat inside the home gradually escapes. In summer, heat from outside builds up indoors. The longer the power stays out, the closer the indoor temperature gets to the temperature outside. The important question isn't, can you tolerate that temperature? Ask, how long can the most vulnerable person in your home tolerate that temperature? Older adults, infants, people with heart or respiratory conditions, people who depend on medical equipment, and pets may be at risk sooner than a healthy adult. So this kit should have 4 layers: a battery-powered thermometer, a carbon monoxide detector with a reliable battery source, a warming or cooling plan suited to your climate, and a plan to leave. A thermometer may sound too simple, but the way you feel isn't a measuring device. A room can gradually get hotter even while a fan is still running. The upper floor may be much hotter than the lower floor. An older adult's bedroom may be completely different from the living room. But the greatest danger during cold weather sometimes comes from the way people try to heat their homes. CO is colorless, odorless, and cannot be detected by the senses. That's why a battery-powered CO detector, or one with reliable battery backup, must be part of the plan. If you use a generator, place it outdoors, at least 20 feet away from doors, windows, and vents. Never run a generator inside the house, basement, or garage, even if the garage door is open. If several people in the home develop headaches, dizziness, weakness, nausea, or confusion, especially while fuel-burning equipment is being used, don't dismiss it as simple fatigue from the power outage. If the CO detector sounds an alarm, don't stay behind to look for the source of the gas. Get everyone outside into fresh air and call emergency services. Don't go back inside until the area has been confirmed safe. The detector also needs to be checked. Watch for low battery signals, fault alerts, and the end-of-life date according to the manufacturer's instructions. The test button is useful, but it doesn't mean the sensor will work forever. In terms of price, basic battery-powered CO detectors are usually around $25 to $30, while models with long-life sealed batteries or combined smoke and CO detection may cost more. In cold regions, the priority is preserving body heat instead of trying to heat the entire house. Sleeping bags, blankets, layered clothing, hats, and dry socks are all valuable. If it's safe, the whole family can gather in a smaller space to reduce heat loss. Watch for signs of hypothermia, intense shivering, slurred speech, clumsiness, unusual drowsiness, or confusion. In severe cases, a person may stop shivering, and that doesn't mean they're getting warmer. In hot regions, the strategy is completely different. Battery-powered fans can help. Blackout curtains help reduce heat entering the home. Cross-ventilation can be useful when outdoor conditions are suitable. Cooling towels may help the body feel more comfortable, but feeling more comfortable doesn't mean the body is at a safe temperature. In hot and humid conditions, a fan isn't always enough for older adults or people with underlying health conditions. If someone starts feeling dizzy, becomes weak quickly, grows confused, or responds unusually, the plan may need to shift from staying to leaving. Know where the nearest shelter is, which relatives still have power or air conditioning, what transportation is available, and which medications, documents, and medical devices must be taken with you. If your garage door is electric, learn how to release it manually before you need to. Don't wait until the house becomes too hot or too cold to figure out how to get the car out for the first time. If someone needs insulin, heart medication, respiratory medication, or medicine that must be kept within a specific temperature range, you need a separate plan for it. Don't apply one general temperature or time limit to every medication. Follow the medication instructions or guidance from a pharmacist or healthcare professional. It helps you understand how the house is changing. Detect CO, protect the most vulnerable person, and recognize when staying is no longer a safe option. This kit helps you monitor the temperature, detect CO, protect vulnerable people, and recognize when the home is no longer safe to remain in. All of these devices share one limitation. Sooner or later, their batteries will run out. 1. Life P04 Portable Power Station. After a few hours without power, everything starts running down. Your phone has less battery left. The radio grows weaker. The headlamp needs new batteries. The fan begins to slow down. And if someone in the home relies on an electrically powered medical device, the problem is no longer just an inconvenience. That's why the #1 spot belongs to a Life P04 portable power station. But this needs to be understood correctly from the beginning. Its job is not to power the entire house. Its job is to keep the things you cannot do without running. Ready.gov also recommends that families prepare batteries, power banks, or alternative power sources suited to their needs during an outage. The biggest mistake is buying a power station and then plugging everything into it. The TV, the coffee maker, the refrigerator, the phone, the fan, and a few hours later, that valuable battery power is nearly gone. Instead of asking, how many devices can this power station run? Ask, which devices still need power tomorrow? I like to divide the power budget into 3 levels. The first level is survival. CPAP machines, medical equipment, and medication storage needs that truly require electricity. The second level is essential. Phones, radios, lights, and fans. The final level is can wait. The TV, entertainment, the coffee maker, and other conveniences. I would even tape a piece of paper directly to the power station. Medical equipment first. Communication second. Lighting third. Everything else waits. This small detail helps the entire family follow the same rule instead of letting each person decide what deserves to be plugged in. Only then do you get to the question of size. Don't choose a power station just because the advertising shows a huge watt number. The simplest calculation is device wattage x hours of use, minimum power required. For example, a device using 50 watts for 8 hours needs about 400 watt-hours before accounting for power loss. But the calculation on paper only gives you the minimum. The inverter consumes power. Temperature affects performance. A real device doesn't always run at exactly the number shown on its label, so the actual runtime has to be confirmed using your family's own equipment. Capacity also isn't the whole story. You still need to check output power and startup power. Some devices require more power during the first few seconds. If the power station can't handle that level, you may have enough watt-hours and still be unable to start the device. Especially with medical equipment, don't assume a consumer power station or UPS mode will automatically be suitable. Check the power requirements, adapter, connectors, and instructions for the medical device itself before treating the power station as a reliable backup source. Another thing many families overlook is the refrigerator. A power outage doesn't mean you immediately have to devote most of your battery to it. The FDA says a closed refrigerator will usually keep food cold for about 4 hours. A full freezer can stay cold for about 48 hours, while a half-full freezer can stay cold for about 24 hours. So before sacrificing most of your backup power to run the refrigerator, look at what's inside, how long the outage is expected to last, and what the actual temperature is. A refrigerator thermometer helps you make that decision using real measurements instead of the food's smell or appearance. In terms of price, a LifePO4 power station around 1 kilowatt-hour can currently cost about $450 to $800, depending on the brand, power output, promotions, and accessories. This isn't a small purchase, but its value isn't in the number of outlets. It's in how many hours your life-sustaining devices can continue operating for the money you spend. If your budget isn't enough for a large power station, you can still build your system in layers. A power bank for your phone, a smaller power station for lights and fans, a separate backup battery for medical equipment if the manufacturer supports one, or a backup location with electricity for medical needs. Not every family immediately needs a 1 kilowatt-hour power station. After buying one, don't let it sit in the garage collecting dust. Check the charge level regularly. Test the ports. Inspect the cables and adapters. And at least once, simulate an evening without power. Plug in the exact devices you plan to use and see how quickly the battery level drops. That is your family's runtime, not the marketing number. LifePO4 offers good cycle life in many modern models, but it doesn't last forever. Temperature, charging habits, and storage conditions all affect the battery. In cold climates, check the charging temperature limits for your specific model. Some LFP power stations can provide power in the cold, but won't allow the battery to charge once it falls below a certain temperature. If the power station becomes unusually hot, the battery swells, the case becomes deformed, there's a strange smell, or it displays an error. Don't continue using or charging it. Check recall information as well before treating the device as a long-term emergency power layer. Then comes the important question. When the power station runs out, how will you recharge it? Solar panels can help, but they don't create unlimited electricity. The solar panel must be compatible with the power station. The voltage and input limits must match. The wattage printed on the panel is its rated output under test conditions. not the amount of power you're guaranteed to receive outside. Shade, clouds, panel angle, and weather can all reduce output, so test the entire charging process before you need it. Know which cable to use, know where to place the panel, know how much power you can realistically recharge in one day. And don't wait until a storm is approaching to buy one. Power stations frequently go on sale, so the problem isn't always rising prices. Right before a major event, the problem may become the right model selling out, bundles becoming unavailable, or delivery taking too long. Finally, remember that backup power doesn't solve every system failure. ATMs may stop working, card payments may be interrupted, garage doors or electric gates may need to be opened manually. So keeping small bills, understanding the manual release mechanism, and knowing how to operate locks during a power outage are still worth preparing for. The Life P04 power station ranks number 1 not because it's a magical device. It ranks number 1 because it can extend the operation of many of the other essential systems. The radio can keep receiving information. The lights can stay on. The fan can keep running. The phone can remain connected. Critical medical equipment gets more time, but only if the power is allocated deliberately. During a blackout, the issue isn't how many outlets you have. The issue is knowing which outlet must be the last one to lose power. No one wants to think they might wake up tomorrow in a home without electricity. But preparedness isn't about living in fear. Sometimes it's simply charging a device, replacing batteries, or telling your family where the supplies are kept. You don't need to prepare everything in one day. Start with the gaps and complete each part over time. If you've ever experienced an extended power outage, share the item or lesson that helped you the most. What you write may help another family avoid a mistake when things get difficult. Thank you everyone for staying with us until the end of the video. Stay safe, stay calm, and hopefully, these items will simply remain unused in your home instead of ever being needed in a real emergency.